accidentally woke up really early, so I just played math games on my phone for 2 hours. I'm probably the only person I know that would have done that. I also just delivered the most awkward compliment ever to one of my roommates, and they were very confused. I was like, "You're so impressive," and they're like, "What are you talking? Why?" And I'm like, "I guess I'm too tired to say this right. Oh well." So I thought that was funny. I'm sleepy, guys. I want to go to a coffee shop, but I don't know if I have time to. So I'm in the middle of working out, and I was realizing I started saying some really negative things about myself and my body and how I'm moving it. Because it's not even just like, oh, you need to work on that. It's like, you aren't good enough. Like, you, as you are, aren't thin enough. You're not fit enough. You're not this, and that. Like, I don't want to let those thoughts sit, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who thinks that, like, while they're working out and doing things that are good for your body. It's so frustrating because those thoughts really stop you in the moment. You're like, oh, I shouldn't be here. Like, I don't deserve this, or like, I'm not good enough already, so what's the point in even trying? And I want to say really quick, like, one thing that's helped me a lot is, while I love the body positivity movement, and I think it's really helpful, it helps me a lot more to have the mindset of body neutrality. So rather than thinking like, oh, I'm perfect, I don't need to work on anything, like, for me, I accept myself as I am, but I'm such a goal-oriented person, such a hardworking person, that I need to have a little more push. I need to be a little more like, okay, we're going to work hard, we're going to do this. Not necessarily to change how I look, but to change how I feel. And so it's helpful to me to have like a body neutrality mindset of how I look and how my body looks is the least interesting thing about me. It's not something I had a choice in, not something I had control over as far as what I was born with, the genetics I was born with. Even the situations where I can work out and eat healthy, those are all incredibly privileged things, so I'm thankful for them, and I'm using them to the best of my ability. But it doesn't say anything about my moral character that I, have access to these options. I will say, like, my diligence is something I'm proud of. Like, showing up to the gym, that's something I'm proud of. It doesn't always show in certain ways in my body because I'm taking care of myself in other ways that I haven't before, like eating well and taking care of myself, like, rest-wise. But also, a really important thing to keep in mind here is this is week 1 of, like, this 12-week program that I'm starting. So my ability to do these movements is the worst that they're ever going to be, probably, hopefully, fingers crossed, at least for a long time. So I just need to have, like, a growth mindset with myself. And I'm saying this because it's hard. I'm saying this because it's something I'm working on. And I know I'm not the only person that struggles with this, so I wanted to talk about it. How you look really is, like, the least interesting thing about you. It doesn't say anything qualitatively about your value as a person and what you have to contribute to the world. You have so much more to give than the way you look. And you have so much more to give than the way that you dress and the way you carry yourself. Those are things that say things about you. If you value yourself, you'll take care of yourself well. And if you have access to good clothes that isn't too expensive, like, you can dress well, you can wash your like, you should be taking care of yourself, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But those things don't qualitatively take you to, like, you were person, you were like 80% a person then, and now you're 100% a person, or you're even more of a person than someone who doesn't have what you have. I think that's such an unproductive mindset. I want to maximize the gifts that I've been given, like having a healthy body, having a healthy, atmosphere to be in. But that is really limited by my negative thinking of, like, oh, I look really bad in this reflection right now, or like, oh, I'm not doing the form exactly right, so, like, what's the point in trying? So I just wanted to say really fast, like, seriously, how you look is the least interesting thing about you, and what you have to contribute is so much more important. The things that you believe, your values, the worth that you give to other people, the way that you love is way more important than how you look and how you make other people feel. So that's just what I'm thinking about right now, and I really need to go back to my workout because my phone kept having problems when I was trying to record this, and it might die soon. And that's ridiculous considering it's like 11 o'clock. So Anyway, thanks for listening. I'll see you later. No, I like dropped and cracked. Like I dropped one of these kettlebells on it and just cracked the front of it. So that's great. Love that for me. Can't afford a new phone right now. Maybe I'll end up getting one. Okay, so that got cut really short. I probably have to go find out if I can order a new phone as soon as possible. We'll see what happens. I only ended up doing like 3 or 4 of the workouts, but I took my time with them and it took me almost like an hour to do them all. I've been here for a while because I also had therapy this morning and I came here because my roommates were awake and home. So I'm just gonna go home, take a shower, talk to my parents, maybe see if I can order a new phone. We'll see. I don't know. I was thinking about getting one anyway, but like I'm gonna put it off as much as possible. I'm just worried that there's this like giant, it looks really bad, so don't put a kettlebell, don't drop a kettlebell on your phone, guys. I don't care if you need to see the video to check your form, but keep your phone further away from it. Just a recommendation. I'm gonna go home now, try not to die. I wanted to take 1 second to appreciate that I'm such a perfectionist that like this is such a struggle to just record this and talk about the fact that I didn't do all the workouts that I wanted and all that other stuff. But at the same time, like realistically, what I did today was I woke up, I had kind of a slower morning, I did a bunch of math problems for whatever reason, and I had a nutritious breakfast, went to therapy, and then went to the gym. And it's only 11 o'clock and I'm still beating myself up for not doing enough. Like, be realistic, dude. Chill out. Like, you're gonna be okay. So I called my dad and talked to him about the phone situation, and then I went ahead and ordered a new Google Pixel. I went over to Best Buy and it'll be in next week. So I just have to deal with this like shattered glass thing happening for a few more days. I still can't believe I dropped a kettlebell on my phone. That's okay. We live and we learn. Okay, so brief update. I had a really good day so far. I went out to lunch with one of my friends after I broke my phone. Anyway, so we had lunch at this really cute coffee shop, and it was like the cutest little place. It was just like perfect, and some good conversations too. We went for like a walk in the park with my friend, and just like, one of those times you want to cherish every minute because like those are the days you look back and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I was able to do that. I had a lot I wanted to do. Like, I was very aspirational last night. I was like, I'll do custom cups, custom, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, chill out. Like, this is, like, the last week of your second to last semester at school. Like, it's okay if not everything gets done. It's okay to get 9s out of 10s on quizzes sometimes. That was hard. Embracing that happened. It's not that big of a deal. It's a 9. I'm just growing from it. So, I think I got a couple of 9s, but it's better than missing those quizzes completely, to be honest. Like, let's put things in perspective a tiny bit. I get to go to this really cool school. I get to take all these really cool classes. I'm giving it all I can, and I have to live with that. So there's a Christmas party tonight at school, and then there's another like cookie party here at my house. So there's a lot going on, and I'm a tiny bit stressed, just a tad. But I feel like the huge wave of stress that hit me at the beginning of this week is just kind of plateaued to like the outcome will be the outcome. And like one of my friends was just really kind with being like, you just have to trust God with it. Like, you just have to breathe in it. All you have to do is show up for what you're doing right now, and the rest will work itself out. So right now, I'm going to go back to finishing up those models, and then tonight at 7, I'm going to go to that party. So that is the plan for today. It's been an amazing day already, so like, I'm just so thankful for good friends and being able to help, give each a little bit of encouragement and receive encouragement when I really do need it too. But yeah, that's it for now. I was just thinking about learning and how a lot of people tend to think that we stop growing at a certain point, or that we're like gonna start growing at a slower rate. Like, I think we do, but I think it's also like, it's important to remember that everything that we know, everything that we can do, and all these skills that we kind of take as our own personalities have been learned. Like, I think a lot of things can be unlearned that are unhelpful. And it's also really encouraging that you can always kind of deepen your learning or understanding of something, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with being new at something. There's nothing wrong with being bad at something. I was thinking just earlier about inefficiency and learning. I was running back and forth a little bit helping a friend out, and I was thinking about, like, oh, like, maybe if I cared about being efficient, this might stress me out, but, like, I don't care about that because it's a weekend, and I'm like, whatever. And in general, I'm like, whatever. Like, what's more important is more important, and it's going to take longer. So I guess, like, there's a balance between, like, being efficient with things and overly designing your life, overly engineering it. I think that there's a balance that you have to figure out between what you actually care about and what you're telling yourself you care about. It helps, I think, to be able to quiet. I know that that's a privileged thing, but I can quiet the outside world and just kind of listen to my own thoughts, and be like, hey, what do I actually care about here, and what do I actually want to pay attention to at this moment. So I think, like, we can get caught up in efficiency, and I think that the point of learning is that it does take time. It costs us something, but the ultimate gain is greater than the loss of having had to take a step back and learn something new. Even just, like, the humility of that, like, knowing that everything I have right now is something I've either gained over time or was given by other people. Like, those are all things that have helped make me where I am today. Having the security of, like, okay, like, I can work hard and not have to worry about if I have somewhere to sleep tonight, you know? So thinking about that, along with this podcast I was listening to about the Ripper stories and the women that, like, were forced onto the street because of their living circumstances, and how hard it is to kind of get out of that financial rut of being in poverty, because people treat you differently when you're in poverty, and it's very much as much a mental as it is a physical toll of being in a bad space. I don't know. I think it's difficult problems to try and solve, and it's difficult to try to understand, like, how things got where they are now, and not try and see the morality behind people's situations in life. I think it's really important to separate the two. You're not a less moral person because you're in a bad spot. We need to separate morality from, like, elitism and privilege, because back in Victorian England, like, it's crazy to think about, but, like, your physical boundaries were not an option if you were poor. Like, we're used to, like, some level, I mean, I think even now, like, there's still some level of, like, you're an object once you're this poor. I think that's obviously a problem that is complex, but back in the Victorian ages, like, purity culture was preserved for the upper class and people who were in higher standing, because they had the privilege of choice. They have the privilege to say, I'm not interested, where people that are in lower class, it's like, you're not going to have that choice. And I think that still carries through a lot today, and I think that it's really important for us as a general culture not to place morality on people's, like, decisions that were made out of need and out of desperateness. And also, just, like, can we just look at people based on their own value and not on the value that they can offer someone else? Like, just let people exist. I don't know, just thinking.
Terrifying. Why? Because, like, there's no. He's just moving. He doesn't have to. He's a smith. He's like, I want to go. Okay. This one, at least gives me, like, some vibes of the
That's so much value. Your dollar value was 2 meals out. You can watch that meals. Actually.
You can steal them.
Don't steal.
See, Rachel wanted it. I'm sorry. There's nothing better in this room.
So it is around 11:30. I'm probably going to go to bed soon. I just set up my first render for my milkshake machine. It's a really simple machine. It's nothing too complex. I learned a lot from making it, but it's definitely not, like, engineering level. It's just very visual. I have found it really, like, fun to mess around with SolidWorks lately. Like, I've been learning a lot from it, and
it's a good refresher. It was fun at the party today too, like getting to see everybody in one place, which almost never happens because everyone's got such different lifestyles and such different friend groups, and being in different age classes definitely separates people. It was fun. I guess I should have I wish that it wasn't when it was, I wish that we were done with our projects and didn't have other things on our minds. Plus, having already been very social that day, for me, that's very social. Therapy in the morning and then lunch with a friend, that's a lot of social interaction and being with people. And then it was good, though. It was very much needed and really fun, and, having small talk and, talking to people that I don't typically get to hang out with. Definitely very, good to do. But yeah, we're going to have another, thing tomorrow night with peppercorka, and that's a cookie recipe, and a bunch of people are going to come over. I don't know. I might be working on stuff a lot. I don't know. Be where you are and be content with what you have, because it'll never be good enough. You'll never be satisfied with it, and part of that, I think, is the skill level of, I have very high aspirations and very high goals for myself, and so my skills just aren't going to keep up with that. But it's also, when it comes to yourself and when it comes to your own social skills, they're never going to be perfect. They're never going to be 100%, but you have a very, I think it's really important to be gracious with yourself and compassionate as we go through this time. Focus on how the other person feels, and you'll be much less focused on how awkward you are. So I guess that's a key takeaway for today, is just focus on the person in front of you and making them feel important, and then the rest will work itself out. So
Just ran all the way to Aldi.